Welcome back to Real Gun Adventures. So quick look today at this Italian CO2 air pistol. Obviously that is designed to look a lot like a Beretta 92F. It's not a licensed copy, doesn't say Beretta on it anywhere, but it is Italian, made by a company called Valtro. It's got a couple of interesting features about it, which is what attracted me to it. Now this is a 2013 model. Well, let's have a look. Look, on the top here, on the rear sight, you've got a tiny lever, which is a release, and that opens up what will be the slide. And in there are two Rotary Magazines, and they sit together, they nest together, and when one empties, it picks up the second one, and you can fire that one through a spare hole in the first one. So you get 16 shots. That's a good idea, and it works really well. Very smooth. Also, the magazine, you can't just eject the magazine, you have to actually unscrew this, what would be the piercing screw at the bottom. Once that's undone, you can withdraw the full size magazine, which takes two CO2 caplets, and you do need two CO2 caplets. I've tried it on one, it was okay, but it wasn't as good. So those are the unusual features. All of the controls on this pistol are for show, with the exception of the safety, which works as it should, and the magazine release, which releases the catch, but you have to release the magazine by undoing that screw on the bottom. So it's quite nicely made. It's a polymer. It's quite a good quality. Actually, it's a very good quality polymer. It's not the usual cheap, nasty plastic stuff. It does feel very good in the hand. It does look very well finished, and it's 9 years old, so that's not bad going. I like the look of it. I like the feel of it. Now I've shot it. I fired it out at 10 yards. I use these Diablo pellets. I like these in pistols. They're pretty good. Very well finished, nice quality pellets, and they're not expensive. The point is, I fired it at 10 yards because that should be that's a fair operating range for a CO2 pistol. Power wise, good, about 3 foot-pounds. Accuracy wise, pretty good group. I'm not saying it was a bad group. The sights, there is an issue. And as I mentioned before, there's a latch at the top there which releases the slide to change the magazine. That latch stands up and actually is visible when you look through the rear sights. So it's not as high as the front sight, but it's about halfway there, and it is distracting, and it does affect the picture through the sights, which is a shame because that needn't have been like that, but it is. So that's probably my only complaint, and because of that, I've fired a couple of magazines through it. They've all given me quite a good group, but not necessarily where I wanted the group to be. It needs some messing around, some getting used to, probably hold over. Anyway, let me show you this thing in action. I'm going to shoot 8 into a paper target, 10 yards, and we'll come back, I'll show you the target, and we'll just round up. I'll be right back. So that's the shooting, and that's the target. So that's a bit bigger than a 5p group. It's a bit ragged, but it's a good group. It's unfortunately low and to the left. I could take the blame for that and say it's me, but I've been shooting a few pistols, particularly of late. I don't think it was me. I think it's the pistol. That's just where, when you aim for the bullseye, where you hit. So you need to go right and maybe a bit high. But it's an okay group, so I can't really complain. Now I'm not big into replica air pistols, and I keep saying this, and I keep getting them out and showing you and talking about them. But it is true, that isn't the thing that made me get this. It was those two unusual features. It was the twin magazine and the twin caplet which interested me. The fact it looks like a Beretta is a bonus, I guess, for some people. I like the way it looks, I like the way it feels, I quite like the way it shoots. I just wish I could do something with those sights, and maybe I'll come up with a solution. It doesn't look to me as it's going to be easy, but there might be a way around that. More importantly, it is a well built, good pistol. It's obviously been built to last. It's 9 years old. It's seen a few campaigns. I guess being a good heavy duty polymer, it's stood the test of time. You can't scratch it. You can't really do any obvious cosmetic damage to it. Internally it's all working as it should, and it's pretty easy to load those magazines, and it's straightforward to drop in those two CO2 caplets. Now you do get with it an extra couple of magazines, which is a nice touch. So you could have 4 magazines loaded up. So that magazine, you may be able to see, there's a tiny pin standing up. That tiny pin goes into a tiny lug in the back of this magazine. There's actually also 2 red marks on there, so you can see that you've got them lined up when you put it into the pistol, because those red marks, that hole there in the magazines is larger than the pellet, so it allows the pellets in the rear magazine to pass through that hole and fire through magazine 1 and magazine 2 and out the barrel. It's really straightforward, really simple, clever idea that works very well. So you can load up 4 magazines, you can put 2 in at a time, and you can fire 32 shots without having to really think too much about reloading. 2 CO2 caplets obviously is going to give you a good number of shots. I haven't counted, I actually degassed this so I could do the review. In fact, they're still there. I'll just let the gas out and release them. I've quite enjoyed shooting it. I think I'm going to enjoy shooting it for a long time to come. It's just the sights, and may well be I'll work something out that's a nice simple solution. I'm just a little bit disappointed that lever stands up. You can see it there. It's just on top of the rear sight. It stands up, and it needs to be big enough to get hold of so you can actually open the top. But I don't know. They could have done a better job of that, I think, or put it somewhere else. Anyway, let's not dwell on that one downside. Everything else looks good. Originally these things came in a box. This is the original pistol case it came in. So they're pretty good. I believe they retailed at around about 140 to 180 pounds sterling when they were new, and you can still pick them up second hand occasionally. I remember trying to find one of these around about 2013. I read an article, I liked the look of it, I thought I'll get one of those. Couldn't find one anywhere. I bought this from the retailer that sold it originally and bought it back, and they said it was the only one they'd had. So maybe these are thin on the ground, and if so, there will be some rarity value to it. But I think if there was, I'd have paid a lot more money for it. Anyway, that's enough. I think I'll get where the going is good. Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe. It's a big thank you to everyone that does. And I keep saying this, but I do appreciate it. I really do. So I'll be back in the very near future. I've got a few things lined up. I've got a few things I've promised to do, which I'm going to do. So watch this space. I'll be back soon. Bye for now.